Hey everyone, I'm Carolyn. Welcome back to another episode of As I See It. By now, you have probably seen the viral video of this pastor, Greg Locke. Yeah, Greg Locke in Tennessee, doing this sermon that would put a lot of people in a mental institution, to be honest with you. Doing this sermon saying that if you vote Democrat, there's no place in the church for you. You are Satan. You are a demon. I mean, this guy's just gone off the rails. And I'm watching it like many people wondering, is the church, is the pulpit the proper place for this kind of rhetoric, this kind of language? And so I dug around a little bit, did a little research, and I thought I would share with you my thoughts about what I found. So, number one, it is absolutely not legal for churches to promote a political party, a political candidate. Currently, the law prohibits political campaign activity by charities and churches, defining a 501c3 organization as one which does not participate in or intervene in any political campaign on behalf of or in opposition of any candidate or party. So this is a law that was passed in 1954 when Congress approved an amendment by Senator Lyndon B. Johnson to prohibit 501c3 organizations, which include charities and churches, from engaging in any political campaign activity. So as most of us know, churches are tax exempt, and I was going to do a video on it. It's a very complicated, long, drawn out Supreme Court cases, very political and legal explanation as to why churches don't pay taxes. But basically, there's a number of reasons, and they have been upheld by Supreme Court cases and precedents, saying basically that the government just wants to completely stay neutral, stay out of religion, and so by not taxing them, they're not tied to them. It's complicated. It's more complicated than I really want to get into. But we know that churches are tax exempt. And as tax exempt organizations, they are required by certain rules and laws. And one of those is not to be involved in politics. And here we have this pastor, Greg Locke, from Mount Juliet, Tennessee, by the way. His church is Global Vision Bible Church. Here we have this pastor who delivered what some are saying the most violent prayer they have ever heard on January 5th at a Trump rally. He was at the Capitol on January 6th. He held a book burning event for his church, burning Harry Potter and Twilight. And not only did he use his pulpit in Tennessee to bless the Proud Boys, he has used the Proud Boys for security at his church. I think it's fair to say that we know what side of the political aisle this pastor is on. And as an individual, he has every right to his beliefs and even his out of church activities. But delivering a sermon, a violent sermon, at a political rally, to me crosses that line. That's not personal at that point, is it? Or is it? So there's been a lot of debate, a lot of talk about pulling this church's tax exempt status because they are clearly, obviously, out in the open, engaged in political activism, political campaigning. He's campaigning against the demon Democrats. This is dangerous, vile. This is bad. This is bad. And there's a couple points I want to make about this. So the legal point that I want to make is that he has crossed the line. This is not allowed. And there are a couple organizations that are taking action, filing complaints with the IRS that his tax exempt status needs to be revoked. And I'm going to put some sources for you in the video description so that you can act. I'll put a link to his video. You can share his video with these organizations to complain, to demand that they follow up with the IRS to make sure his tax exempt status is revoked. He is not allowed as a church to continue to demonize a political party, more than half of our population. This is just not allowed. But I think the bigger issue here, besides the legality of what he's doing or the illegality of what he's doing, I think the bigger issue here is that I want to hear from Christians. I want to hear from the Christians in my audience about what you think about this. If you haven't seen the video, watch it below. This guy is off the rails. In my opinion, as a non-Christian, he is not espousing Christian values. I mean, I've seen him threaten to beat people up with his microphone. I saw this video in a sermon. People were, heckling him or whatever, and he threatened to beat them up, to shove his microphone upside their head or beat them down their throat or whatever. Has Proud Boys, a white nationalist hate organization, at his church providing security, saying that anybody who votes Democrat can't be a Christian. This is not, as I understand them, Christian values. This is not how a leader of a church of the people translating the Bible should act. So I want to know, what can be done within the church. I want to know what the people of Tennessee and Christians around the world, there has to be some oversight. Is there no oversight at all in church? Is anybody allowed to say, I'm a Christian, I'm going to start a Christian church, and in the name of God and in the name of Christianity, I'm going to say whatever I want? That's allowed? If I were a Christian, a church-going, especially Christian, I would be calling everybody in the Christian hierarchy to make this guy go away. Frankly, he should not, in my opinion, again, not a religious person, but if I were, I wouldn't want this guy. He's got an audience of millions. It exploded after he started buddying up with Trump. This is a white nationalism form of Christianity. This is not, and I have Christian friends who agree, I think. I mean, I didn't ask them specifically about this, but this isn't Christianity. This is something else. This is something violent. This is something hateful. This is something ugly. And I want to hear from my Christian viewers, what can you do to hold people who are using the pulpit, who are spreading hate and violence and lies in the name of your God, your Bible, and your Christianity? What can you do? Outside of the laws in Congress and the IRS, there has to be some accountability within the church. Isn't there? The Pope? Beacons beacons, is that what they were called? I looked it up a little bit. But basically anybody can start a church and there is no oversight. I would think that would need to change. So if I wanted to call myself a Christian and start a church, and start saying the Bible says you can stone a woman for cheating or whatever. So yes, stone your wife if you catch her cheating. Is that okay? Is it okay to say you can't be a Christian if you vote Democrat? Slaughtering babies, he says. I just wanted to share this. I don't have answers for you. I don't have grandiose epiphany. It's basically a question and something to get people thinking. How do we hold people in the church accountable? And if I were a Christian person, I would be contacting every Christian oversight board or whatever to find out what you can do about this guy operating under the name of Christianity when he is, in my opinion, this isn't Christianity. This isn't. And I think most Christians would agree. I'm sorry if this is offensive, but I say there are real Christians, and the people I know in my life who I respect and care about are real Christians. And then there are people like this who are using the power of the pulpit, who are using the Bible and Christianity and God for other purposes. Power, money, political agendas. They're misusing, they're abusing not only the religion and abusing Christianity, they're abusing their followers. This is mental abuse. It's manipulation. It's not right. And if I were a Christian, I'd be mad. I would be mad. The final point I want to make about this is that right-wing politics, as we're seeing with Roe v. Wade about to be overturned, people who believe in right-wing politics are fanatical about it. They are diligent. It consumes them to the point that they are taking it to their churches, a sacred place, I thought. They take it to PTA meetings. They take it to school board meetings. They're burning books. They're banning books. They have taken their beliefs to the nth degree in every facet, every aspect of their lives. They are using every opportunity to further their agendas, whatever that agenda might be, whatever policies or social issues or fears they have, to the point that millions of people are cheering a pastor who is advocating violence and hatred from the pulpit. My question to the rest of us is, what are we going to do to counter that? We can't just sit on Twitter all day complaining. We can't just sit on our asses. Going to the voting booth is not enough. We need to match their level of fanaticism because they're winning. They're winning with the violence. They're winning at the Supreme Court. They're winning at the local election levels with getting these people installed who are going to overthrow elections. We're seeing a diminishing of rights. They are fanatical. We need to match that fanaticism. Even if that means, well, I was going to say, even if that means, your liberal church, advocating from the religion, from the pulpit. But this guy hopefully is going to get his tax exempt status. And I hope when he gets his tax exempt status taken away, he also gets the label church taken away. This is not a church. A church is a place of worship, right? This is worship God, worship the ideals of Christianity and what God and Jesus Christ stood for. This guy is doing the exact opposite of that. But my final point that I want to wrap up is we need to match that level of fanaticism. Maybe not being political from the pulpit, but we have been taught, and I don't know if liberals are like just more polite or more shy. I know that I have always been shy about my beliefs because I've always been in the minority, not being religious and being more liberal and believing that I don't care what color you are or what your sexual orientation is, you should have equal rights. In a lot of places in my life, I have been in the minority, especially the religious thing. And being in the minority, I don't want to offend by saying, you know what, when people say I pray for you or God bless you, no, don't bother. I don't believe in that. You don't say that, right? We don't say that because we're in the minority. It's like, okay, if you want to say that, that's fine. So we have been taught to be quiet, to be passive, but we need to wake up. We need to stop being quiet. We need to stop being passive. They are fanatical. We need to be fanatical. When somebody says something in your presence that is untrue, unfactual, that is hate, a Christian spews hate, we need to challenge that. They challenge us. They tell us their beliefs all the time, to the point where they have taken it to a house of worship. Get fanatical. Get unapologetic. Speak up, speak truth, speak facts. Even if it's uncomfortable and even if it might not end well, we need to be fanatical. If this crazy lunatic pastor, and look at him, he looks like a lunatic. I know lunatic doesn't have a look. This guy looks like a lunatic. And read about his past. It was a troubled past and he had felonies, and it's kind of no surprise to me that this is who he is now. But Greg Locke, yeah, if anything, if he has taught us anything, if we can learn anything from his brand of psychotic Christianity, maybe that's psychotic Christianity. If we have learned anything from that, it's that we need to be as fanatical as they are. Something to think about. Leave your thoughts below. I want to hear from the Christians about what we can do to stop this fake Christianity in the church and these fake pastors. This isn't I think you can agree with me. This isn't what God or Christ would have wanted, right? So something to think about. Leave your comments below. I'll see you next time. Thanks for being here.